Okay, how many of you guys like football? I know I do. I watch football. I coach football. I was a strength conditioning coach for a long time, been on a field for a long time, and coached a lot of players. I'm getting somewhere with this when it comes to shooting. Just stay with me. Okay, so as a strength conditioning coach, there's a lot of things that I do with my players to help them perfect either their lifting technique or what they have to do on the field or otherwise. That being said, right, I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of Tim Tebow. And this is what I'm getting at when I say this, because I like to use, when I teach on the range, I like to use sports analogies. I like to use mostly football analogies because that's where, most of my sports background is from. And it, again, being a strength conditioning coach and a football coach as well, I like to use athletic analogies when I teach on the range, and it goes over well. Anyway, so whether you know it or not, whether you know him or not, Tim Tebow is a household name. Whether you're a football fan or you're not a football fan, everybody has heard of Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is arguably probably the greatest college quarterback to ever play the game. Okay. Now, again, stay with me. I'm going somewhere on this. Okay. That being said, Tim Tebow has had the same throwing mechanic, right? Probably since he was in FNL, Friday Night Lights, all the way through his NFL career. Okay. He was successful, then he was successful through high school, and he was successful as a quarterback in college, right? Then he got to the NFL. He was successful there, where he got, when he was with the Broncos, he took them to a playoff win, and successfully. And if you remember the drive was just absolutely incredible. Came back, it was just an absolute awesome win. Anyway, go back and look at that. It was great. Okay, that being said, after the end of the season, okay, they brought in Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning came in, took over for Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow got shipped off to the New York Jets, and that's where everything happened, okay, as far as his career goes. Now, why do I say that? Well, he met a guy named Tom House. Tom House, and yeah, I'm going to name names. Tom House used to be a pitching coach in Major League Baseball. He came over to the NFL, started helping a lot of quarterbacks there with their throwing mechanics successfully. Now, why am I blaming Tom House for Tim Tebow's career failing or dying, I should say, and him not playing anymore? Well, this is why. Okay. And again, I've been doing this for a long time, and I take whatever analogies that I use and I apply it to my students on the firing range. Okay. When I go to teach, Tom House took an unorthodox throwing mechanic from Tim Tebow, right? If you remember, he was kind of three-quarter, sidearm type of thrower, and but he was successful with it. And when you're successful with a throwing mechanic for that long, again, since Friday Night Lights all the way through his NFL career, you just don't try and change it, okay? Because that motor skill is for it's in your DNA now. You just don't change it. Now, why do I say that? Okay. So when I have beginners, right, I can teach them my way, right? They've never picked up a gun before. They've maybe shot a couple times, but they're really not proficient at holding a gun or even, knowing where their dominant eye is, right? They might not even know where their dominant eye is. They might not even know how to find where that, where their dominant eye is when they look through the, when they look at that front sight, right? So when I come out and I teach, you know, side picture, side alignment, so on and so forth, and grip, right? I teach them my way, and that's how they learn. But when I get intermediates, right? When we get into like a pistol two or a level pistol two, and I have guys that come in are people that come into my class, my level 2 class, who have shot before, and they're proficient in shooting, right? But they might not have that same grip, right? Or that same eye dominance. And, sometimes you have to test them and things like that, but they shoot good. They shoot, they're proficient in their shooting. They can shoot, but they might have, a little bit different grip, or maybe a lot different grip than what I would teach them, or what any other instructor might teach them, or what they were taught. Okay. So let's say, for example, if I have a gun, right? And my way of teaching is, strong hand. I'm left-handed, strong hand on the grip, weak hand down here, what we call a combat grip. Okay. Now, they might not be using that type of grip. They might be using something that might be like this, right? Or like this, or something similar to a teacup, but not quite. But they're shooting well, right? So that being said, I'm not going to mess with their grip. I'm not going to go and say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and try and fix your grip. Now, I might make some adjustments, but I'm not going to go ahead and totally, you know, mess up what they're so used to where they have to start over again because they're already proficient with it. So that'd be like, I mean, it'd be like, again, that you take the Tim Tebow analogy of trying to teach somebody that they're already good at. But what you want to do though, right? You want to perfect that. You want to perfect that grip. You want to make it better for them without restructuring, without changing, what they've been taught, right? And so because it might not work for them, right? The one thing I won't do is I will adjust a teacup grip. But if they're using a teacup grip and they're in my level 2 class, or they're an intermediate, they're an intermediate shooter, yeah, then we're going to go ahead and work on that. Because if you're, if you're still using a teacup grip and you're in a level 2 class, you shouldn't be in a level 2 class, because we're moving and shooting and so on and so forth. And we're doing a lot of tactical stuff to where you really have to control your you have to control your muzzle flip. You have to control a lot of things, and recoil and things. So I will go ahead and correct that, but they wouldn't be in the class if they were. If that makes sense. Anyway, what I'm saying is, if it works and you're shooting proficiently, and I'm saying this to instructors as well, and you guys can do whatever you want. It's your class. This is coming from a coaching standpoint, because that's what we're doing. We're coaches. We're instructors, but we're actually coaching. And so I may be an instructor, but I call myself more of a coach because of the background that I've had. And you know, so that being said, don't try and change anything if it's already working for you. Just try and perfect it. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, if you guys have any questions, hit me up down in the comments. I would appreciate it if you subscribe, because the algorithms are really screwing me up. And I think I'm putting out some decent content. I don't put out a whole lot of it, but when I do, I think it's pretty decent. So if you guys can hit me up in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to hear what you have to say.